This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations number 143. First movie I watched was an actual enjoyable movie from start to finish called Dog, which is what Channing Tatum called the dog, even though the dog had a name. It had laughs, it had some humor to it, some seriousness to it, inside look at PTSD and TBI and all this other stuff you have from serving in the military and all this other things, and the goal to go back, and the friendship story, which they do with a lot of movies where you don't want the dog around, you don't really care for the dog, but then you're like, you know what, girls on me, I don't care what happens, I just want this dog to be okay. And this movie had interesting amount of character actors throughout the movie that I've seen before, and it was pretty good. I laughed it, I liked it. The last movie, The Lost City, whatever it was, with Sandra Bullock, that review, I thought that was just a dumb, stupid movie that was enjoyable to watch, but this one was actually really good. Moments of tearing up sadness. It was actually really good. I would have 100% suggest it. Then I watched the movie John in the Hole, where Michael C. Hall is the only guy that I really know anything about. Saving grace of this movie is, despite listing an hour and 43 minutes, it's under an hour and 40 minutes. It's like a long amount of credits for this movie. It's basically some kid decides to drug his parents, lock him in a hole, and then lets him out eventually. Like, woo! It was so dumb, so stupid. It's just a movie you put on in the background because it's just not that good. Then I watched the movie The Last Duel, and one thing is, again, movies don't need to be 2.5 hours and 33 minutes with credits. That's 2 hours and 23 minutes because, 2 hours and 33 minutes, man. And you got big-time actors, Ben Affleck, Jodie Comer, Adam Driver, Matt Damon. There was a few other people in this movie. But it's interesting that it's Ridley Scott, who's a big-time person, and then you see, these guys, like Damon and Affleck, who are buddies, directing, producing, sort of situation, writing this movie. And they made a movie where they despise each other, which is funny because they're buddies and they like to be friends in these movies. But basically, what made this movie long was they told the side of a story 3 different ways. Matt Damon's side of the story, Jodie Comer's side of the story, and Adam Driver. I'm not giving it away because I don't tell you what happens in the movie or what transpired, but they probably could have made it 2 hours maybe and only told one story, and it would have been cool. But yeah, they did a good job of the makeup to make Matt Damon look like a warrior, to make Ben Affleck not recognizable until you zoom in. So it's interesting. Matt Damon's like a grizzled soldier. Affleck's in power. Adam Driver's more of an administrative person who used to be a soldier. Jodie Comer's like his second wife. So it was an interesting movie with all the trying to get the correct olden times, how things went, when it happened. So I enjoyed it. I watched it, but again, way too long. Then I watched the movie Sing 2, and I'm thinking to myself, the first one was so good. This one blew my expectations out of the way because I thought it was really good. I'm not going to say it was better, but it was pretty good. The writing wasn't the greatest plot, but it bring back all the same characters like Matthew McConaughey's little koala bear, the porcupine rocked out by Scarlett Johansson, Reese Witherspoon, Nick Offerman. They're married pigs with all their kids. Nick Kroll with the German pig. They had Eric Andre to be in this movie. You got Taron Egerton's ape, primate in the movie. Tori Kelly's, elephant. They added the cat dancer. And the coolest thing, they added Bono to the movie, which I thought was really cool. Bobby Cannavale was also in this movie. Supposedly Pharrell was voicing somebody. So was Letitia Wright, Halsey, And I like this movie. It was cool that they played a lot of U2 songs for the movie. They wrote even a new song for the movie. And he was like this old veteran lion who hadn't performed music in years. So I thought it was really good. I liked it. Got a little bit emotional a few times. And, those children's movies, when they say they're an hour 50 or an hour 40 minutes, that's a lot of crap because it's just a lot of credit. So, yes, I watched this. It's a good movie. Overall, I really liked it. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be. And, it was what you want to sit back and watch a children's movie that they sing some classic hits and you just relax. Then me and my roommate watched The King's Daughter, and this was very short, and we were afraid that despite the library putting a sci-fi, because it was like mermaids and mythological aspects, but I felt like it was more of a drama where former Bond man Pierce Brosnan wanted to live forever, and his mad scientist was like, you gotta kill the essence of a mermaid in order to live forever. And Julie Andrews narrated, which was cool. And William Hurt was his, like, the priest, the pope, whatever, of the town, of the country and stuff. And she was a long-lost daughter that she didn't know who her father was. And her father was using her for many purposes. And she was like, no, no, no. You know, simple, like, daughter, like, rebelling against her evil father. And love story and drama and who she's loving and all this other stuff. And her friend who was trying to help her out. And yeah, 90-something minutes is pretty good. And you know, in all these, it's a fairy tale, so of course she's going to win. She's going to come out on top and win, because then the movie would think if she died or just didn't come out on top. I was told this movie is supposed to come out like 7-8 years ago. So that's why the woman, Kyla Scardario, who was in, you know, the Maze Runner movies and some other stuff, this seems like it was something that came out more in the past. But yeah, it's a watchable movie. I just wouldn't really call it science fiction. Ooh, mermaid. Then I saw the movie The Tiger Rising, where Dennis Quaid is a crummy hotel and owner, and he's got this tiger, and Queen Latifah is a cleaning lady, and yeah, so the movie is basically this kid, father is on his last legs financially, so they live in a hotel. He also works for the hotel. His kid goes to school, people pick on him. There's a new girl in town, this black girl, they pick on her. She's got the name Sistine Chapel, blah, blah, blah. They become friends because they're both picked on, but he has to go home because the principal thinks he's got some sort of rash that will spread to everyone, which again, stupid. And Queen Latifah offers the kid wisdom on, you know, everything. And Dennis Quaid shows him the tiger, and then the girl's like, we got to get the tiger out. And they find out the father has the keys, so they get the tiger out, and of course the tiger gets loose. And the tiger attacks people, and then the tiger gets killed, and the kid is mad at the father. And they realize he's missing the mother, and he'll try to do a better job. Oh, okay. So yeah, it was not the greatest movie. It was definitely and I feel like Dennis Quaid and Queen Latifah wasted their time, but it's the perfect movie. As again, you put on in the background like the John in the Hole, and it is what it is. It's definitely not the best kids movie that I watched this week. So that's the thing. It's probably one of the worst kids movies I watched. Something you could definitely fall asleep through. Then I watched West Side Story, and after watching In the Heights, I feel like there was actually a few songs in the Heights that I heard in here. So I'm like, I guess they stole them from this movie. I don't know why Steven Spielberg decided, let's make this movie again. It's been in Broadway productions, theaters productions, all over the place. Professional, not professional. Like, why do you have to redo it? And like, Ansel Elgort is a good actor. I've seen him in plenty of movies, but I'm not feeling lead and singing lead. And Ariana DeBose is a singer, so that makes sense. They introduced a new woman, and they call like the prettiest woman in the world. Nah, I really wasn't that pretty. Rita Moreno was in the movie as the old lady. And the fact that we obviously know what happens in West Side Story. You got the Sharks and the Jets. They hate each other. They made it where it's Puerto Ricans versus Americans. You know, they had a transgender character to make everyone happy. Corey Stoll, who I recognize as one of the cops. Detectives, that was cool. But again, drags on for 2 hours and 20-something minutes with like almost 10 minutes of credit. Like, okay, movies don't have to be that long, especially musicals. And we all know what happens. Everyone dies. That's important, pretty much. So, like, yep. I felt like a waste of time. But everyone says, you got to go watch West Side Story, the remake. Go back and watch the original West Side Story, because this was just, I don't really know. This Peter Bradshaw, The Guardian, giving it 5 stars. He must be crazy to think that. But it wasn't the worst movie I watched this week. The best movie that I watched this week was a tie between Dog and Sing 2. Dog is PG-13, so obviously it's not meant for all ages, but these two were the best movies I watched this week. I feel like The Last Duel was the third best, but again, being almost 3 hours just really didn't sell it. And movies like West Side Story and The King's Daughter were flawed, but watchable. It's John in the Hole and The Tiger Rising that I would just not waste your time with. But definitely go see Dog, and definitely if you haven't seen Sing number 1, go watch Sing 1 and then go watch Sing 2. Thanks for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews Observation number 143. For On the Radar Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.